What is the most important financial decision of your life? Is it going to college and getting a student loan? Or is it buying a house and getting a mortgage? All of those answers are wrong. The most important financial decision of your life is marriage. When we get married, we don't even want to consider a possibility of getting divorced. But the reality is different. Every second marriage in the United States actually ends up in a divorce. So it's better to be prepared. For some reason, women are so scared when their men ask them to sign a prenup. Their first question is,
"Do you not trust me?"
But the thing is, I would never go into marriage without a prenup, because I trust myself and my partner more than I trust the government. Because if you get divorced and you'd never signed a prenup, the thing is, it's going to be the government who decides how your assets are going to be split. So, today we will discuss why it's important to have a prenup, why rich couples never get married without one, and why it's actually so important to have one, because it's a key towards financial success and a happy marriage. First things first, so what is a prenup? A prenup is a legal contract between two individuals which they sign before getting married. It outlines the division of properties, assets, and financial responsibilities in the case if a couple divorces or one of the spouses dies. This document is designed in order to provide clarity to both of the parties involved. So now, let's get to the most interesting part. How do rich couples look at marriage? Spoiler alert, they know that being in love does not make you compatible. Marriage is a relationship between two families in order to make each other stronger. So how does it usually work? If a guy wants to propose to a girl, he's going to her dad not just to ask for permission. He's going there with a lot of documents. And what he's going to be showing is what he owns, what are the properties, what are the assets, if he has any debt, as well as what he has in his trust fund. The reason why it's happening is because they are providing transparency in order to understand what those girls are going to be having in their future. A dad's job in a family like this is to make sure that the girl is financially protected when she's sent off to a next family. Once the dad reviews all of the assets, bank statements, and the debts, if God forbid he has any, then he either says yes or no, and then two families start working on a prenup. Usually, it's the girl's family who will invite the guy's parents to their house, and they will have a wonderful dinner where they will not talk about such horrible subjects,
such as finances.
But the next day they will meet all over again, but now with the lawyers. And now two families will be working on the prenup. At the first stage, they're reviewing this with parents, but then they also have an opportunity to add what they want to this contract. And now, let me tell you a few things about my prenup. The first thing is financial responsibilities, also known as who pays for what. In my case, I really like working and I hope to continue doing it for the rest of my life, but I also want to have kids. So at some point, I want to dedicate myself fully to motherhood. This will also mean that I'm at a very vulnerable position where I don't have an income and I will have to rely on my husband. That means that I will have an allowance while I'm sitting there with a child. Often you are asking, how much should it be? Girl, it should definitely be more than your salary, because you just went through labor, so you're expecting more than you had before. Make sure that you include it. Also, it's important to have some type of timeline. In my case, I'm including 3 years. The next thing which you're going to be including is, for example, house stuff. My mom always told me that the reason why she has such a happy marriage with my dad is because she always had a lot of energy once he was back home, because she did not spend all of the time doing all of the hard labor. So somebody has to pay for the house stuff. Spoiler alert, it shouldn't be you, it should be him. Another thing which might be important for you is private school. Do your kids go there? Who's paying for it? Once again, you should discuss it before actually getting married. Now, there's going to be a subject which will resonate with many of you, and it's custody. Probably, you still don't have kids, but you know who you might have right now? Pets. And right now, you might get very petty, because everything else feels theoretical, because you're dividing the things which you don't have yet. But when it comes to pets, watch their behavior, because that's when they will show you their true colors. You will have to discuss, in a case of a divorce, who gets to keep a pet. It might be a very touchy subject, but Why prenup is so useful is because you're still making those commitments while you still love each other, and then you sign under it. Because once you're going through the divorce, the emotions are very different. You're so close to killing each other. That's why prenup is a great thing, because you're making those commitments and sign for them while you still actually like each other. The next thing, which is very important for many women and men to add in the prenup, is infidelity. We all know that unfortunately it happens. So you're asking, okay, he or she cheats on me, what does it mean? It means that you are required to a compensation. You can write in the contract, if you find out about infidelity, how much you're expecting. It can be a fixed amount, or it means that one of your properties or the amount of percentage of the business can now be under your name. Yes, of course we trust our partners. They would never do this to us. Everybody's else partners, but mine would never. If he would never, prove it, sign it. Never believe anything until it's signed. Another thing which often comes up is relocation. One of the partners might get an opportunity to go somewhere abroad because of the job opportunity. The second partner should be required to some type of compensation, because it means that they're leaving behind their life, their friends, and they're believing that their partner is making the good decisions for them. So if one of you chooses to move and the other one has to follow, either put the amount which you are expecting to get in compensation, or as always, you can just get one of his properties in order to feel confident. One of the things which makes people really fight a lot during the marriage is parenting styles. It's so important to discuss this. For example, in my prenup agreement, I will definitely be discussing what religion I want my kids to follow, because it's important to discuss it and not to find out this during the marriage. Because imagine if you have such different views on this. It means that your marriage is gonna fail. I also want to let you know about some of the interesting things I've heard people include in the prenup. So far, I'm not including them, but might consider. One of the things which I heard is if you get out of shape or your partner gets out of shape, you're required to get a compensation because you married a handsome man or a beautiful girl and now they don't look the same. Take money from them for that. Very important. People include that stuff, I'm not joking. A lot of couples today, they also fight about social media. So when it comes to infidelity, you can also include the cases of social media. He likes somebody's picture, now his car is yours, girl. So there are many things which you can include in the prenup. It's literally the constitution which you write with your partner, and it can be anything as long as it works for you. One of the biggest mistakes which people make is that they don't have those difficult conversations and they get into marriage blindly. You're willing to have a child with this person, but you're so scared to talk about finances. What prenup actually forces you to do is to have those difficult conversations before marriage. So you and your loved one, you go and you talk to the lawyer and you start talking about your expectations, because what happens is so many people assume things. For example, girls assume that once they have a child, they're no longer going to be working, but guys assume since she has been working the entire life, she will continue to do that. And the problem is that you have assumptions, but you never agree on anything, so you two are the only ones to blame. Prenup time is such an amazing time to understand that you expect and want such different things from each other. This is a perfect moment to have this open discussion and understand, holy fuck shit, this person wants something completely different. And this is a perfect moment to say, I spent such an amazing time with you, but you want something completely different, and I sincerely wish it to you. Imagine if you have this conversation and you just saved each other 20 years of your relationship. You didn't have kids with people who want to raise kids completely differently than you do. You are protecting not only yourself, but the person who you are saying you truly love. And girls, if you're so scared to talk about finances, how come you're not scared to be in bed with them? Think about this, please. And now, questions from the students. If you both have 0, is that fair? I assume the question is, if both of you don't have much to write in the prenup, is it even worth to have it? 1000%, because you're talking not only about the financial aspects of it, but as I have already mentioned, you can include all of the emotional aspects of it. If within the marriage you actually become financially successful, there is always such a thing as postnup. This is something which you can sign after you get married. So yes, just because you're not financially rich yet, it doesn't mean that you don't need a prenup. Good question though. Next question. I guess this is not a question, just a statement. Women are ashamed to ask men for anything, but men never too ashamed to ask women for sex as soon as they can get away with it. I mean, it really depends what men you surround yourself with. But this is true. Generally, men are not afraid to ask for things, and women think that the moment they ask for something, especially when it involves something materialistic, they become those gold diggers. You know, sometimes I think that men created this patriarchal opinion that women who ask for anything, they're gold diggers and they're materialistic right away. And you girls believe this, and that's why you're so afraid of asking for things. Please. A man who truly likes you is not going to be offended by you asking anything. And actually, you will not even need to ask anything. He will do it before you even think about it. Interesting statement, though. So wait, a woman should get financial gain for spending time with a man? Is a woman's company worth more than men's just because she's a woman? No, a woman's company is not worth more than men's. Definitely not. It's just usually there is a traditional household statement where a man is working and a woman is not. So in those cases, a woman's time should also be compensated. Because here's what my parents always told me. Both of my parents wanted to have a big family, but they also wanted to have a successful business. But they couldn't be doing two of those things at the same time. That's why my mom was spending time with the family and she was raising us. But my dad couldn't be the only one who gets the financial benefit when both of them are getting exactly what they want. So no, nobody's time worth more. It's just as long as two things work for two people, that's the only important thing. There is no one rule fits all. If you are hurt by it, definitely talk about it with your partner. But don't expect women who like this traditional statement to change their opinion. Just date with people with who you have the same values. And talking about that, prenups actually make sure that you have the same values. And if you don't, just don't be together. Thank you, students. Good questions and some petty ones as always. But as always, do whatever you want with this information.